You're listening to Just Ask Joyce on WFIA, The Spirit.
Although Google is the most common search engine, it's not the only place kids go when they want to look at pornography, says Anne Marie Miller, author of 5 Things Every Parent Needs to Know About Their Kids and Sex. We have her online with us. If you have missed any of this broadcast, please, I urge you to go back and listen to the podcast. It'll be up. Gary will have it up for us by 6 o'clock today. And you guys need to be hearing what she is telling in this book. We're not even scratching the surface, Anne Marie, but where else are parents going to be surprised to know that their kids can access something pornographic?
Well, as you said, Google is kind of the new sex ed. And again, I mean that broadly as far as search engines go. But because think about it, if you need to know how hot your salmon needs to be when you cook it, what do? You go to Google, right? So if a kid hears a word at school or just in passing or on TV, and they know it might be a touchy subject, do you think they're going to ask you or their friend or Google? Mm-hmm. And we've turned into that generation where we just turn to the internet for, like, what does X and Y mean?
Right.
But instead of necessarily even reading, it's kind of skipping over because they're a more visual generation. So they won't even just look at Google. They'll look at Google Images. So imagine someone Googling, what is sex, and hitting the image thing on Google, and that's where they get that exposure. Mm-hmm. So within that, even clicking on innocent hashtags, if you have a teen that's on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, those aren't inherently bad apps, but people abuse the hashtags. Mm-hmm. And, you can click on election or, anything that anyone has used and be exposed to porn.
Mm. Well, social media apps like, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And I think that, they'll be surprised. Vine, Snapchat, Periscope, and even Pinterest sometimes. But, I want to introduce the parents to an app that perhaps they need to be cautious about, and that is called Whisper.
Yes. Whisper is an app that there's a few others like it where you can post anonymously and usually within the location of where you are. So it's geolocated, and no one knows who you are unless you, of course, tell them. But because of that anonymity, there's a lot of really, really inappropriate content on that app.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And, of course, you spend a lot of time. Thank goodness. I mean, this book is so informative, and you have really gone great lengths to equip parents with some expertise from other doctors and therapists and psychologists, psychiatrists. It really is well done. I just want to applaud you. I'm not going to nearly have time enough to dive into everything that you talk about today. I do want to brush on sexually abused children. You devoted a chapter to that. Why did you feel the urgency and the importance to do that, Anne-Marie?
I think the reason that I felt the importance is twofold. That is another part of my story. And I was a pastor's kid, just for a little bit of background information, and I was sexually abused by a youth pastor. So even within the church, unfortunately and very sadly, this can be a huge problem. So I know that if I struggled with it and if it was something that happened to me, and then as I have shared my story of healing and hope with other students and other college students, it became so common to hear that young girls have been abused and they don't talk about it to anybody. And they feel safe talking to me because they know I've been there, and that's usually their first step in getting help. But a lot of times the children just don't speak up when they've been sexually abused. I was one of those kids, and it's a very hard thing to do, is to come forth, but because there's so much shame attached to it. And as we started off the show, it's our sick, depraved society that attaches the shame to sex, because that's not how God intended it at all. But, you do focus a lot of your attention on
pornography and the implications of pornography. Are we just taking it for granted that our kids are going to be safe on the internet? Because, a lot of times I know that, child pornographers reach out to young girls on the internet. I've been in the court reporting industry too long. I've heard so many stories, and that was where it started because some young girl was lonely or angry with mom and dad.
Absolutely. It's a terrifying thing to actually think about. And I think it can be so terrifying that a lot of times as parents, we don't want to think about it. So we kind of live in this, well, it's not happening to my kid and I would know it if it was. And we just kind of shove it under the rug. And we really can't do that. I personally have gotten emails from parents, from school administrators, from teachers, from people inside the church that maybe work or volunteer in a church, where they have firsthand experience where one of their students has been abducted, been preyed upon, met up with someone that was misusing an app or the internet in order to be a predator and to find someone younger. So I know that it happens way more frequently. It shouldn't happen at all, but it happens still much more frequently than I think we know about. And because it's always changing in the internet and apps and whatever, always changing, people do market apps and even Facebook. I have a Facebook account where on it I'm a high schooler. It's where I do some of my research to see what people get marketed to when they're high schoolers. And I still get to things that are trending in Facebook that are inappropriate. About National Send a Nude Day, which was a day last week where you're supposed to send a nude to somebody. It's a picture of you being naked. And on that Facebook account, I'm 16, and that was being thrown in my Facebook feed.
Wow. And your book, again, is so inclusive and it's so thorough. You have resources for the conversation in the back of the book. And parents, there is no reason for you not to be able to discuss things with your kids. She has given you so much fodder and made it so easy for you. And I just appreciate your effort in this book. I just can't begin to express to you how valuable a resource this is for parents. And I'm so thrilled that you've taken the time to do all that you have, Anne-Marie. 5 things that every parent needs to know about their kids and sex. How can people pick this book up?
You can buy it generally wherever books are sold. It's definitely online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all of your other retailers. And you could also go to my website, which is Anne, A-N-N-E, mariemiller.com, and that has a link to all of those available websites. Or 5thingsbooks.com also. There's resources there for parents as well as links to purchase the book.
Well, I know... I don't want to leave the audience without hope, and you even give us a chapter saying there is hope. And, we do need to fix it, but it starts in the home most often, doesn't it, Anne-Marie?
Absolutely. God has gifted and equipped you to lead your family in this really messy topic, and you can do it, and there is hope that we can redeem this conversation. Thank
you so much, Anne-Marie. God bless you. I just pray blessings around this book and you. Thank you so much for being on Just Ask Joyce. We'll be back. Don't go away.
WFIA, The Spirit.
It's like the rebirth the world feels during spring. The new life when there was none, and the hope of real growth and wonder, like the kind of wonder of joining Alistair Begg on a magnificent Mediterranean journey.
Have you ever wondered what it would have been like to travel the dynamic missionary journeys of the Apostle Paul, to see for yourself the sights of the early Christian church? This is Alistair Begg, inviting you to join me this fall on the footsteps of the Apostles' Mediterranean cruise. Together we'll encounter the sights of the early church like never before, with wonderful stops in Rome, Naples, Jerusalem, Athens, and more.
It's an unforgettable 15 days on 2 continents, sailing on one of the newest cruise ships, the beautiful Silhouette.
And we'll experience the magnificent Sistine Chapel, the historic Western Wall in Jerusalem, the beautiful Greek island of Santorini, and much more in luxurious accommodations over the pristine waters of the Mediterranean.
Get more information at WFIAFM.com and click on the Footsteps of the Apostles banner.
You want to feel connected, informed, included, inspired. So when important things happen, we're here. Your local radio and TV broadcasters. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information on your radio, TV, computer, tablet, and smartphone. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Tell Washington local stations matter by texting radio to 52886. Furnished by NAD and this station. Message and data rates may apply.
Geico presents Kathy, the Candid Real Estate Agent.
In the master bedroom, you'll see there's room for a king-size bed. And take a look at this walk-in closet. Now just imagine all these custom shelves and drawers turned upside down when a thief goes through them to take your entire vintage sneaker collection.
It's hard to know all that comes with buying a home or condo. That's why the Geico Insurance Agency makes getting covered for personal property loss and damage quick and easy. Call Geico today and see how much you could save on condo and homeowners insurance.